From childhood stardom to tragic endings, these 20 child actors captured our hearts, only to have their lives stolen far too soon. Some were lost in the darkness of fame, others taken by forces beyond their control. Each story is a heartbreaking reminder of the hidden cost of celebrity. Today we remember them not just for their talent, but for the lives they should have had. Lucille Rickson's life was a tragic flash of brilliance in the silent film era, a young star whose light was extinguished before it could truly shine. Born on January 20, 1910 in Chicago, Lucille's beauty and natural charm led her to Hollywood at the tender age of 12. She was quickly signed by Universal Pictures, where her ethereal looks and delicate demeanor made her a favorite of filmmakers. Her roles often showcased her as a sweet, innocent girl, capturing the hearts of audiences across the country. Films like The Glorious Lady and The Girl Who Came Back, both 1922, marked her rise to fame, and the future seemed endless for the young actress. But Lucille's promising career came to a heartbreaking halt in 1923, when she was diagnosed with tuberculosis. At just 13, her body began to betray her. The disease, a rampant killer during that time, took its slow, devastating toll on her health. Despite her determination to continue acting, her weakening condition forced her to step away from the screen. She was no longer the vibrant young star she had once been. Her health deteriorated rapidly, and what should have been the prime of her career became a battle for survival. For nearly 2 years, Lucille's life became a quiet struggle, far removed from the Hollywood sets where she had once shone. Her once radiant beauty faded, and her body weakened with each passing day. She died on January 13, 1925, at the age of just 14. The world had only just begun to know her, and then so cruelly, it was forced to say goodbye. Lucille Rickson's death was a heart-wrenching reminder of the fragility of youth and the devastating toll that illness could take. Her short life was filled with unrealized potential, and the promise she held remains a haunting, what could have been. Despite her brief time in the spotlight, Lucille is remembered as a tragic symbol of innocence lost far too early. Bobby Driscoll's life is a poignant tale of Hollywood promise turned tragic. Born on March 3, 1937, Bobby became one of Disney's most beloved child stars. His iconic role as the voice and model for Peter Pan, 1953, captured the hearts of audiences around the world. With his boyish charm and natural talent, he became the face of Disney's golden age, starring in other films like Song of the South, 1946, and So Dear to My Heart, 1948. By the time Bobby was in his teens, however, his acting career began to falter. The transition from child star to adolescent actor proved difficult, and as his youthful appearance changed, Hollywood's demand for fresh faces left Bobby behind. Roles became scarce, and his struggles with growing up in the spotlight deepened. His personal life unraveled, and he turned to drugs as an escape from the pressure and confusion that came with his fading fame. By the mid-1960s, Bobby was living on the streets of New York City. Homeless and battling addiction, he had become a shadow of the star who once embodied Disney magic. His tragic fall from grace was marked by isolation and despair. On March 30, 1968, at just 31 years old, Bobby Driscoll was found dead in an abandoned building, his death unnoticed for days. When his body was identified, the world learned of the heartbreaking end to the life of a once promising star. Bobby's tragic death serves as a cautionary tale of the dark side of fame, a reminder of how child stars, like Peter Pan, can be forgotten and discarded once they outgrow their roles. Jay North's life was a story of both child stardom and the quiet complexities that followed it. Born on August 3, 1951 in Hollywood, California, Jay became a household name as the mischievous, lovable Dennis the Menace in the 1950s TV series of the same name. His portrayal of the spunky, troublemaking boy next door catapulted him into stardom, and audiences adored his comedic timing and infectious energy. As the titular character, Jay's bright smile and antics were the heart of the show, making him one of the most iconic child stars of the era. But child stardom often comes with a cost. Though Dennis the Menace ran for 4 years, from 1959 to 1963, Jay's transition into adulthood was anything but smooth. The pressures of fame and the typecasting that followed his role as Dennis left him struggling to find meaningful work. As he grew older, Jay found himself increasingly frustrated by the limitations of his early career. He would later describe the experience of being typecast and the toll it took on him emotionally. Despite this, Jay continued to work in the entertainment industry, including voice acting, where he lent his talents to various projects. His voiceover work allowed him to explore different roles and gain new creative outlets away from the public eye. While his career never returned to the same level of fame as his time as Dennis, he found fulfillment in less visible but still rewarding work. Jay North passed away on September 12, 2025 at the age of 73. Though his later years were quieter, his place in pop culture remains secure, forever associated with the lovable Dennis. His death marked the end of an era, leaving fans to reflect on the charm and innocence that he brought to the screen in his youth. Sawyer Sweeten, a star silenced too soon. He didn't ask to be famous. He was just a boy, sweet, quiet, gentle in ways the world didn't always notice. Sawyer Sweeten was only 16 months old when he stepped onto the set of Everybody Loves Raymond. He wasn't acting, he was simply being himself. Alongside his twin brother Sullivan and sister Madeline, he became part of one of TV's most beloved families. For 9 years, America watched him grow. As Jeffrey Barone, he brought laughter into our homes, his innocent expressions and quiet charm stealing hearts across the country. But behind the laughter, behind the scenes, Sawyer was growing up in a world few understand. The spotlight is warm, but it casts long shadows, and when the lights dimmed, Sawyer was left alone with the silence. Fame had faded, but the pressure hadn't. He struggled with depression, with isolation, with finding his place in a world that only knew him as the boy on TV. On April 23, 2015, at just 19 years old, Sawyer Sweeten took his own life. No warning, no goodbye, just heartbreak, sudden and shattering. His family was devastated, his friends stunned, the world silent. His sister Madeline would later say, "He was more than the role he played, he was beautiful, and he was hurting." This tribute isn't just for Sawyer, it's for every quiet soul carrying unseen pain. It's a reminder that we must talk about mental health. We must listen, we must care. Because sometimes the kindest people are the ones hurting the most. Sawyer Sweeten, forever 19, forever loved, forever missed. Heather O'Rourke, the little girl who spoke to ghosts. She was the little girl with the angelic face, the blonde hair, the wide, wondering eyes, and the unforgettable voice that whispered, "They're here." Heather O'Rourke became a star before she was even old enough to understand what that meant. Born on December 27, 1975, she was discovered by Steven Spielberg at just 5 years old, eating lunch with her mom on the MGM lot. Just a year later, she was cast in Poltergeist 1982, and with that chilling line, she captured the world. Audiences fell in love with her, not just for her acting, but for her innocence, her calm presence in the middle of chaos, and the strange ethereal glow that seemed to follow her on screen. She would go on to appear in Poltergeist 2, sitcoms, interviews, commercials, a child star on the rise. But behind the bright lights, something darker was brewing. In 1987, Heather became ill. Her symptoms, stomach pain, swelling, were misdiagnosed as the flu. Months later, her condition worsened. She was rushed to the hospital in early 1988, where doctors discovered a congenital intestinal defect, an undiagnosed condition that had silently poisoned her body. On February 1, 1988, Heather O'Rourke died during surgery. She was just 12 years old. Her death shocked the world. So young, so sudden, so unfair. Many called it the poltergeist curse. But the real tragedy wasn't superstition. It was how quickly life can be taken, how even the brightest stars can vanish without warning. Heather was more than an actress. She was a daughter, a sister, a friend, and to this day, her soft voice and sweet smile live on in the hearts of fans who still remember. Heather O'Rourke, gone far too soon, but never forgotten. Judith Barsi, a voice of innocence silenced too soon. She had the voice of an angel, and a smile that lit up the screen. Judith Barsi was born on June 6, 1978. A bright, talented little girl with big dreams. By the time she was just 5 years old, she was already working in commercials. Her charm and confidence far beyond her years. Hollywood took notice. She went on to star in dozens of television shows, movies, and animated films. She was the voice of Ducky in The Land Before Time. Her joyful laugh and sweet voice etched into the hearts of millions. She brought life to Anne-Marie in All Dogs Go to Heaven, a performance so full of innocence and unspoken pain. Because behind the camera, Judith's life was anything but safe. At home, she lived in fear. Her father, jealous, controlling, and abusive, terrorized the family for years. Judith's mother tried to protect her, but no one acted quickly enough. On July 25, 1988, in a quiet suburban home in Los Angeles, Judith Barsi's life was stolen, shot and killed by her own father while she slept. Just 1 month after her 10th birthday, he then murdered her mother, Maria, before turning the gun on himself. A tragedy beyond words. Judith never got to grow up. She never got to chase the dreams she was just beginning to reach. But what she left behind, those bright eyes, that unforgettable voice, those gentle words, yep, they still echo. Her films, her spirit, her memory, they live on, not just in animation, but in the hearts of those who never stopped mourning the little girl behind the characters. Judith Barsi, a star who never got the chance to shine her brightest. Forever 10, forever remembered. Alicia Naylor, gone too soon, never forgotten. She was full of light, a rising star. Funny, bright, talented. My Alicia Naylor was the kind of girl who made the world feel lighter, just by being in it. Born on November 6, 1999, my Alicia captured hearts across the UK with her unforgettable performances on CBBC. From Millie in Between to Almost Never, she wasn't just acting. She was shining. With every smile, every line delivered with warmth and charm. Maya connected with her audience, especially young viewers who saw her as someone real, relatable, and strong. She was more than an actress. She was a singer, a model, a dreamer. She was just 16, and her whole life was ahead of her. But on April 7, 2019, that bright future was taken. Maya Alicia Naylor died after what the coroner later ruled as a tragic accident, a death by misadventure following an accidental hanging. Her passing was sudden, shocking, unbearably sad. Her friends, family, and castmates were devastated. CBBC released a statement mourning the loss of a beloved actress and colleague. Fans across the world grieved the young star they'd grown up watching. No one saw it coming, and perhaps that's the hardest part. She was loved. She was not alone. But sometimes, even in moments of confusion or emotional pain, the world can turn in an instant. My Alicia's life, though short, left an impact. Her work brought joy. Her laughter brought comfort. And her memory now carries a powerful reminder. We must speak openly, we must reach out, and we must cherish each other while we can. Maya Alicia Naylor, forever 16, forever missed, forever a part of the stories she helped bring to life. Scotty Beckett, the bright star who burned too fast. There was a time when his smile lit up the silver screen. A boy with dimples and charm, Scotty Beckett seemed destined for greatness. Born on October 4, 1929 in Oakland, California, he rose to fame in the 1930s as one of the adorable stars of Our Gang, also known as the Little Rascals. With his signature cap and wide grin, he won hearts in an instant. Hollywood couldn't get enough. By the age of 9, he'd appeared alongside legends like Shirley Temple and Judy Garland. He wasn't just a child actor. He was the child actor. But childhood fame is often a fragile thing, and as Scotty grew older, the spotlight grew colder. The roles dried up. The innocence faded, and life outside the studio walls became harder to navigate. In his teenage years, he tried to transition into adult roles. He even earned praise for performances in films like The Jolson Story. But behind the scenes, he was already struggling. With alcohol, with painkillers, and with the weight of a Hollywood that had moved on. Legal troubles followed. So did arrests, hospital stays, failed marriages, and a heartbreaking decline. On May 10, 1968, Scotty Beckett was found dead in a Los Angeles motel room, a bottle of pills nearby. He was just 38 years old, a star from the golden age of Hollywood. Gone too soon, lost to the same machine that once made him shine. Scotty Beckett's life is a cautionary tale, but also a deeply human one. He was a boy with a gift, who carried the burden of fame before he could fully understand it. May we remember him not only for how he died, but for the joy he gave in those early years. And the child inside who just wanted to be seen. Scotty Beckett, forever young, forever remembered. Matthew Garber, the boy who believed in magic. He was the little boy with the mischievous grin, the curious eyes, and a voice that lit up the screen with wonder. Matthew Garber, born March 25, 1956, in London, England, was just 7 years old when Walt Disney Studios cast him as Michael Banks in the 1964 classic Mary Poppins, alongside Julie Andrews and Dick Van Dyke. Matthew's performance was unforgettable. He played the skeptical younger brother who, over time, learned to believe in magic, kindness, and possibility. That film became a legend, and so did the children at the heart of it. Matthew would go on to appear in 2 more Disney films, The 3 Lives of Thomasina and The Gnome Mobile, again sharing the screen with co-star Karen Dautrice. But after that, he quietly stepped away from acting. He returned to school, pursued a normal life, and disappeared from the spotlight. But tragedy doesn't care about fame. In 1976, while traveling in India, Matthew contracted hepatitis. The illness worsened quickly, attacking his liver. Despite efforts to save him, Matthew Garber died on June 13, 1977. He was just 21 years old. His death was quiet. There were no headlines, no grand farewell, only silence, and the memories of a boy who once danced with chimney sweeps and flew with a magical nanny. His co-star and friend Karen Dautrice later said, "He was cheeky, charming, and full of life. He was like a brother to me." Matthew Garber may have left this world far too soon, but the magic he brought into our lives, in just a handful of films, still lingers in every note of "Let's Go Fly a Kite," and every heart that still believes in something wonderful. Matthew Garber, forever a child, forever part of the magic, forever remembered. Billy Laughlin, the boy behind Froggy. He had a voice you could never forget. Raspy, comical, one of a kind. As Froggy in Our Gang, Billy Laughlin became a fan favorite. The little boy with a frog-like croak and a twinkle in his eye. Born on July 5, 1932, in San Gabriel, California, Billy was just a young boy when he was cast in the beloved Our Gang series, also known as The Little Rascals. His unusual voice wasn't a special effect. It was his own doing. A gift for mimicry that impressed producers and amused audiences. From his first appearance in 1940, Froggy became an instant hit. Clever, weird, lovable. He stood out even among a cast of unforgettable kids. Billy appeared in over 20 episodes, becoming a staple of early American comedy. But by 1944, the series ended, and so did Billy's short time in the spotlight. Unlike many child stars, he didn't chase fame. He returned to a quiet life, attended school, and lived like any other teenager. But fate had other plans. On August 31, 1948, Billy was riding a motor scooter with a friend when they were struck by a speeding truck. He died instantly. He was just 16 years old. No Hollywood scandals. No long decline. Just a promising young life. Cut short in a heartbeat. The boy who made millions laugh. was gone before most fans even knew his name. There were no more lines for Froggy, no final curtain, only memories of a funny little boy with a funny little voice who gave the world a little more joy in a time that desperately needed it. Billy Laughlin, forever Froggy, forever young, forever missed. As we remember these young souls taken too soon, let their stories remind us of the fragile nature of fame and the hidden struggles many face behind the spotlight. They may be gone, but their legacy lives on in the work they left behind. Rest in peace, and may their lives inspire us to cherish every moment we have.